All right. Good morning, everyone. Good morning to Carrie, to Ellen, and Nancy, and Angela. Hope all is well. Thanks for all for saying hello already. As we're just not kicking off here on the blog, I'm wave meteorologist Brian Goode. All right. Today's going to be a bit of a abbreviated. I know they always seem fast, right, in the morning hours, but this one's going to be abbreviated. But it is going to be jam packed, because I have a lot to share with you guys. For such a quiet weather pattern, I have a lot to share. All right. So I promised you guys that I would give you some of my early thoughts of not only part of the autumn season, but a early thought on winter. I will at least give you a nugget today, as promised, while it was quiet weather. All right, I'll come back to it. We'll get to it. I just want to make sure to get that disclaimer out of the way, that it will be just that, a nugget, not a forecast on the whole ordeal. All right, more in a minute. Before we even get to winter, right, we've got to get to fall, which, boy, it's moving up fast. 26 days and counting until the autumnal equinox. All right, so far, 42 days in the book in the 90s. Now, we did have a slight correction. That was a big one, actually, on the record. I don't know how this got transposed, because we've held this record for so long and been tracking it at 85 days back in 2010. There was a typo, it had 55 days. So it may seem like we're right at the point of records. We're not. All right, 42 days, 90 plus, compared to the record of 85. Obviously, we're not going to get to 2010. All right, so that's good. And if we were, then that would be a whole other story right now we'd be covering. I would say right now we're ranking about in the top 50, probably right at 50 for the hottest summers. If you want to go by just about 90-degree days, that's where that seems to want to rank. All right, so there. Not too bad, right? Maybe some better news than we've had to say on the heat as of late is the idea it's not as bad stat-wise as we thought. But still, it is going to be a hot one today, as you guys are fully aware. Air quality, since we're going to be watching, it's not quite a code orange level yet on the gauges that we're able to track this in the Louisville Metro, but it is expected to be this afternoon. We did get to that level yesterday, especially around, I believe it was J-Town or Bowman Field, was able to get there. And air quality alerts out until midnight. So any type of breathing element, limit your time outside. Air quality alert is out for all of Indiana, basically Southern Indiana, and the Louisville Metro, Cincinnati. The reason why it's Southern Indiana, there's a few industrial spots in Southern Indiana there that can build up some of the pollutants. So that's why air quality alerts do go out for them as well. In addition to that, heat advisories that are out. Very touch and go on that as far as hitting the criteria for it. It's right on the edges of wave country. Remember, you see that pink where the excessive heat warning is, way in the top left corner of the image. Remember the corn sweat. All right. So the moisture levels, the amount of humidity in the air, much higher to north and west. And we have a front moving through the Ohio Valley as well. It's taking all that moisture from the corn sweat, which sounds weird to keep saying corn sweat. But anyway, takes a little moisture from the corn sweat and is scooping it up like a shovel. So it only enhances some of the rainfall, but only in the immediate vicinity of the front. This front is not going to come through here. This particular one is not. It will stare us down and then just kind of pass on by and head on to DC from there. So as it gets close to us, which will happen late tonight through about Thursday, again, it'll be close. And it may help increase some of the humidity levels, maybe even enough to give us a few showers and storms. It goes without saying that if you are in the better moisture area, which is basically north and northeast, that's also where the rain chance is going to be this week, is northeast. If you are even around Louisville, but certainly south and southwest of Louisville, your chances of getting anything to your level on latitude is going to be extremely difficult. Your rain chance, I'd put your rain chance at maybe 4% for you guys, while it could go up to as high as about 30% for Indiana as it relates tomorrow. So your location's key on this, but there's no doubt, we're not going to get the full brunt of the front just because it's not going to come all the way through here. All right. So we're quiet today. Let me widen out the scope. Quiet here, but the front that's going to help fire up the showers and storms. So as I get rid of the satellite and just focus on the radar, it kicked up. Ooh, what a night it was for the Dakotas and Twin Cities. They had severe weather. Already had another MCS breakthrough there this morning during rush hour. Well, we know how that's like around here, right? So they're just now starting to quiet down, but the front is going to continue to work its way south later on today. So the severe risk today is going to be Chicago into the UP of Michigan as the front slides down. And again, it's going to slide down to about here. If you can see my pen, it'll drop down to roughly the mid portion of the Ohio River Valley. Once it gets there, let me grab a pen. Once it gets to that point, then it will feel the nudge of two things, actually. A deep low pressure moving into eastern Canada and another high moving in across the southern United States. That will then cause it to tilt on an axis, if you will, tilt a little more to the northwest to southeast. And that's where you get the next risk, where it gets a little odd here. So here is our risk here for Wednesday. Again, the front nearby, can't rule out some icy showers and thunderstorms that could develop. And we could have storms that could develop Wednesday daytime, very close to the Ohio River. And then as we head into late Wednesday into Thursday, we could have thunderstorms as the tilt begins for northeast areas of wave country. And then the front's going to be too far away. And then we'll wait for another cold front that'll move in from the west, a traditional cold front, if you will. That is slated still for Friday night into Saturday to move in. But that's how the storm idea is looking between now and really Friday. Is this front is the best we've got to get any type of thunderstorm action from it. And it's not an ideal setup because it just doesn't come through here. But close is all we're asking. Just get close enough to give us some clouds and maybe a few showers and storms, some beneficial rainfall, and knock the temperature down a few degrees, then go back to sunny again while we got that rain cold air. Well, that'd be nice. It may not play out that way. In fact, I doubt it will, but wishful thinking on that. So let's guide you through Futurecast. We'll take this step by step. You see, for the rest of the day, it's all about the heat. We made it to 95 yesterday. Still haven't beat the hottest of the year so far. If all the numbers are right that we've been looking at, today will be the day that will happen. We'll see. We got about 98 in today. All right, we get into tomorrow, late tonight and tomorrow, really. The front gets close to us. All right, there it is, psyching in now to south of Chicago, around Indianapolis. Now you see all these outflows that are blowing up, showers and storms. These outflows, again, have limits to them. They can only go so far out from the actual storms when they develop. They'll push outward from it, but they can only go roughly about 30, 40 miles, and then they're done. There's just too much warm air around here and aloft, and it just stops the what we call the cold pulling action of the front. So in any thunderstorm downdraft. But we only have to be close, and that's the key. You got to get close, really, to get into the outflow zone. And I think our Indiana counties certainly will get there. And that will be later tonight and during the day on Wednesday. Those of you in southern Indiana have a chance to get at least some thunderstorms to pop up wherever the outflows stop. And that's something I don't know until we get to tomorrow morning. But wherever they form, they push outward and then they fade and then disappear on the radar and on satellite and just basically stop. They're still there. They're just dormant. But that is where we need to focus for the afternoon development, wherever they stop at. So we got to get to tomorrow morning before I really know the answer for tomorrow afternoon. But in general, I don't think a whole lot's going to change on this. It should, in the vicinity, be areas of southern Illinois, Indiana, and perhaps northern Kentucky, with a few showers and storms around. Then we get into that tilting action that will start to happen on Thursday. A few more showers and storms there. Again, we're right on the edge of the whole ordeal. We'll see if we can get some beneficial rain out of that. CSU, Colorado State University, severe weather parameters. I know it's hard to see. This one right here is the one that influences us overall for a wind threat. It can barely even see it. It barely clips into the Ohio Valley. And then after that, it's a little messy with the main front that moves in Thursday and Friday. But once it moves out of here, there's just really, you can tell by looking at the chart, while you can't see the numbers and details on it, you can tell there's just not a lot happening, right? It's relatively quiet. And these are relatively minor storm setups. As far as the main front does go for Friday and Saturday, it's worth pointing out this is a two-pronged ordeal. There is a moisture front and a temperature front. The moisture front moves in by Saturday. A round of showers and storms Friday, scattered, very scattered, guys, poorly organized. Keep that in mind. Same story on Saturday, poorly organized showers and storms. Then the moisture front moves south, but here comes the temperature front will then begin to show up and push down. That should arrive on Labor Day and score us 1 or 2 days into the 70s for highs. The only hiccup for next week, for the holiday week, will be a weak southern wave that may try to throw in some clouds and maybe some showers toward Kentucky late Tuesday night and Wednesday. It looks minor, but just FYI for next week, that is certainly possible. Now, all the models have that little feature, and it may end up staying more south. And if it does, we're certainly going to stay dry all next week. But cooler weather is still showing up to arrive on Labor Day. It's important to point out. Cooler weather is coming. We just got to get through the heat and these small storm chances, the main front, Friday and Saturday, a cool blast of air, and then a few more fronts down the road, but no big dramatic heat waves I see after this one. So I'm not real willing to say again the 90s are done, but we're getting closer. All right, here is your nugget. And you're looking at this like, oh, what is he showing me? All right, so I will tell you this. I'm not ready to get into a lot of detail on the winter forecast, as you might imagine. That will happen Halloween night. But what I can tell you, there's a lot of similarities in the upper air pattern that's developing, as well as the ocean pattern that is starting to show up now. To signal two things. One, that we can easily get a cold snap that would give us a frost or a freeze type of setup. And normally we get to closer to Halloween before we track that. It may be 2.5 weeks early this year. I don't know if that's going to put it entirely into early October or not, but there are signs that that is there. Otherwise, I do think we will have a warm fall. There will be some cold shots mixed in there, but I think the fall will be warm. We get to December. December keeps coming up in a lot of data I've seen where we could see maybe a dramatic flip at some point in December. And this may be the core of the winter. I'm sorry. It may warm up after this, but December to me does have a cold, perhaps even a snowy look to it. And that's about all I can get into for now. Stay tuned. I'll promise you I'll have more when I get into the winter outlook on Halloween, but at least want to give you a little bit of the nuggets of what I'm looking at now already and trying to decipher. All right, 98 today, 98 tomorrow, 99 on Thursday. And there we go. The front's moving in. Again, we got to wait for the second front to cool us down. That will not be Saturday. That will not be Sunday. It'll be Monday, Labor Day. That's when the drop will happen. And that increase the clouds are on Tuesday, the little weak southern wave that may help indeed keep us in the 70s. But really nice setup for the weather as we head into next week. All right, I got to run for now. Appreciate you guys as always. Behave yourselves. I'll see you on the flip side.